I remember thinking my mouth tasted like metal before I understood why. Not the sharp kind, dull, old coins. My shoulder didn't hurt at first. It felt absent, like someone had unplugged it. The pain came later, when I tried to push myself up and my arm refused to listen. I kept replaying the same thought, small and ridiculous. I shouldn't bleed on their tiles. The argument hadn't sounded like an argument when it began. It never does. It sounded like concern. Rates are going up. You're single, it's easier for you. It's just a signature. My sister used that tone she's always used when she wants something light, almost affectionate, as if she were asking to borrow a book. I said no without raising my voice. I'd practiced it. No explanations, no excuses. Just know something in my brother-in-law's face hardened. Not rage, exactly, calculation failing. The room shrank. He stepped closer. I remember noticing the mortgage papers on the table, neat and hopeful, and thinking how strange it was that paper could weigh so much. I don't remember the first hit. I remember the floor coming up fast, the sound of something cracking. Later I learned it was a vase. And my sister's voice, sharp with irritation rather than fear. You should have signed the mortgage. Not stop. Not are you okay. Just that. As if violence were a fine you pay for non-compliance. I crawled because standing felt impossible. My shoulder slid where it shouldn't. I left something wet on the wall. I didn't look back. Part of me still believed this could be contained if I didn't make it bigger. My parents' house was close enough to reach if I leaned against fences and rested between breaths. I rang the bell with my good hand. When my mother opened the door, her face folded in on itself, shock first, then something else. Calculation, maybe, fear of noise. What happened? She asked, already pulling me inside, already looking over my shoulder, as if trouble were a person who might follow. I tried to answer and sat down instead. The room tilted. My father hovered, silent. I waited for anger, for protection, for the old shape of authority to reassert itself. They wrapped my face in a towel. Someone said we should keep this quiet. Someone else said mortgages are complicated these days. No one said his name. No one said assault. I remember the doorframe digging into my back as I slid down. I remember thinking I'd pushed too far. Then nothing. When I woke up, the ceiling was unfamiliar and white. My shoulder screamed now, a clean, bright pain. A nurse asked my name and if I knew where I was. She asked who did this. Her voice didn't change when I told her. That steadiness did something to me. It made the story feel solid, like it could stand on its own. The police came while I was being scanned. 2 of them. One took notes without looking at me much. The other watched my face carefully, not for drama but for consistency. They photographed my injuries. They asked about the mortgage, about the argument, about the words my sister used. When I repeated them, one of the officers stopped writing. She said that. He asked. I nodded. It felt like confession even though I knew it wasn't. They exchanged a look I couldn't read, then went quiet again. Procedure took over. Dates, times, addresses. The language shifted from family to file. Later, I learned my brother-in-law tried to explain it as a misunderstanding. Stress, raised voices, a stumble. The photos disagreed. So did the X-ray of my shoulder, cleanly out of place. So did the nurse's notes, meticulous and indifferent to excuses. I didn't feel powerful. I felt emptied. But something had moved undeniably. Not because I pushed, but because I stayed still long enough for others to see. My parents visited once. They brought fruit and apologies that circled the truth without landing on it. They asked what I'd said to the police. I told them I'd said what happened. My sister didn't come. She sent a message later, careful and cold. You didn't have to take it this far. As if distance were my doing. The mortgage was never mentioned again. The house they wanted stalled. The calls from extended family came in waves, some furious, some pleading, most focused on inconvenience. I listened more than I spoke. It was easier that way. When the case moved forward, there was no spectacle. No courtroom drama. Just statements, dates, consequences that arrived quietly and stayed. The officer who'd asked me to repeat her words told me, without emphasis, that it was good I'd come in when I did. I'm still not sure what I lost exactly. A sister, maybe. An illusion, definitely. What I gained doesn't feel like victory. It feels like gravity returning, my body slowly relearning where it ends and the world begins. My shoulder healed crooked for a while. Some days it still reminds me. Not of the pain, but of the moment I stopped apologizing for not being useful to other people's plans. No one celebrated. That feels right.